Hello again. If you can hear that noise in the background, I apologize. A couple of days ago, my heater started screaming and I was just making noises like it's gonna eat me in the middle of the night, and I've just accepted it. So at the beginning of January, I did make a January TBR video, and then somehow when uploading it to YouTube, a clip got flipped, text went everywhere, and it no longer made any sense, so I had to take it down. And I figured I would probably try to make another one at some point, but I wasn't really sure, and then I ended up getting a ton more books to add to my TBR, so I did, so now it's changed drastically, so I figured it was time to make another one. It's going to be quite a long video though, because I have a very unrealistic TBR, and I have so many books from the library and so many books of my own that I want to read, and we also have a current readathon going on at the moment, and it's a lot, and I'm excited, but it's a lot. So I'm just gonna get right into it, and we'll see how this one goes. To start, we have The Diviners by Libba Bray. I have no idea what this book's about. I just know that for years people have raved about it, and I've heard nothing but good things. And I'm feeling like reading a big, good book, like just a chunky, good read. Like one you just sit there and you read it for 3 days, or you read nonstop for like 19 hours and you finish it. Just kidding, I don't think this will take me 19 hours to finish, but I just want to do that. So this seems like a great way to do it. Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. There are many reasons why I chose this book. One of the reasons is chunky good read. But there are also that I have been on an Anne of Green Gables kick lately, and this is her favorite book, so it seems like an appropriate read given my current obsession. The only thing about this book, so I know that it has to do with a bunch of strange occurrences in the town, and I'm not sure which perspective this is written from, but at the beginning of the book they have all of this astrology stuff, and somewhere in here there's a note to the reader where it's like, we believe that the alignment of the planets is why this occurred. And I don't know who we is, and I don't know if I was supposed to be spooked by that, but I'm spooked by that. And also the fact that it's got this weird circle chart. I think it's supposed to be like a star chart of some kind, and I don't know what this means. I don't know astrology. I don't know what this has to do with anything. And it starts off, the first chapter says Mercury and Sagittarius. I have no idea what that means. No idea. I don't know. I'm guessing that's relevant. So I might have to do a whole bunch of research before I read this book to find out what Mercury and Sagittarius means and figure out why it's relevant to this. But all the same, I'm excited. Good, thick, chunky book that requires research to read. I have 2 books by Fiona Davis. I have The Lions of Fifth Avenue and The Dollhouse. So this is a playaway, and I seem to be the only one of my friends who remember these from middle school, but I love these. To me, these are just superior audiobooks than ones on your phone in every possible way, and I don't know why. I just like them so much better this way. So I'm not actually sure which these ones are about. I'm kind of going into them blind because Fiona Davis is my best friend from middle school. Fiona Davis is her aunt, and she's been writing books since 2016, and I have not read a single one of them. And I feel so bad. So Lions of Fifth Avenue is her newest book, and I know that she's a best-selling author, glowing reviews, and I've never read any of her books, and I feel terrible. So I'm starting now to read her books, and I'm so excited. They're outside of my usual genre, which is why I didn't read them in middle school. I was very like, these are the books that I like. I'm sticking with these. I'm never going to read anything else. But I'm starting to branch out more, and I'm grateful that I am, because I have wanted to read her books so bad, and I finally have an interest in them, and I'm just so excited to plow through them and read everything she's ever written. I have The Book Wanderers by Anna James, and this is kind of like a reverse Inkheart, where instead of the characters coming out, the reader goes in, so she ends up in places like Green Gables and Wonderland, and in Old London with Sherlock Holmes. And I thought that that sounded like fun. And I realized, in thinking about like the whole reverse Inkheart thing, that I haven't read Inkheart. I started it. Ooh, sorry. I started it when I was in the 4th grade. I never finished it. I never read the whole series. And I do need to do that. So I think that's going to be part of my TBR for this year. But not this month, because I have too many books on my TBR this month. I have Truly Devious and the Vanishing Stare by Maureen Johnson. And I think it's kind of like a murdery mystery thing in an old college, something like that. I don't know. There's like a cold case of a murder, and this girl who goes to the school is now determined to solve it. I think that's what it is. I'm not sure. I'm going into a lot of books this month completely blind, and I'm really excited. Like, I have no idea what this one's about, but I've heard nothing but glowing reviews about Maureen Johnson and this particular duology, so I'm thrilled. The Poppy War and the Dragon Republic by R.F. Quank? Not sure how to say that last name. I feel very bad for butchering that in every possible way. Any one of those guesses could have been wrong. But I do have the 3rd book on hold at the library, but they know there's a branch that has it. They're just not sure which one it is, so I don't have it yet. But I have heard very good things about these. The covers just make me so excited. So I'm excited to get through these 2 big, exciting, chunky books. I do know that the first one is about this girl who's created for war and decides that she doesn't want to be a weapon. So she, I don't know, turns some tables and does some awesome things. I'm really excited to, like, get into that kind of world with these books. I have Satellite by Nick Lake, and this is about a boy who was born in space and is going home to Earth. Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. I have heard both good and bad things about Game of Thrones, and it just kind of depends on where you stand. I, however, have been really wanting to read sort of an intricate fantasy that has a lot of details and this whole world that you have to get sucked into and everything, and I've never seen the show. And I know that just about everybody dies, but also that there's a lot of books and they're all really big, and that was part of the reason why I really wanted to get into it. I want to care about a really big series with really big books, and I just, this seemed like a good place to start. It's really popular, so we'll see what happens. I have Snow and Rose by Emily Winfield Martin, and this is a retelling of Snow White and the Red Rose, and I'm not even sure what that's about, because I never read that, but I am on chapter 3 on this book, and it's a relatively short read. So it seems just like a cute little fairy tale book about sisters and some sort of mystery. Seems rather exciting, and I've heard that it's good, but I have no opinions on it yet, because I'm only on chapter 3. I have One of Us Is Next and Two Can Keep a Secret by Karen M. McManus, because last month I read One of Us Is Lying, and that was phenomenal. And I had started to guess as the story went on what had really happened. Then I was like, is this a possibility? And I guessed it way at the beginning, and then I was like, I mean, I guess it could be, but the plot makes it sound like it's not going to be, and then I was right. But, so when they started guessing some other people, I was like, no, like, it wasn't him! Stop! And, it was a really good, like, 4 hours of my life that I dedicated to that book with, like, my heart racing and breaking out in cold sweats and, like, hyperventilating and just, it wasn't him. He didn't do it. Stop it. He didn't do it. And it was, it was a good book. So I'm really excited to know what happens in these two, because I have no idea what they're about. But One of Us Is Lying was so good that I don't even care what these are about. I'm just so excited to get to them. Next, I have one to surprise the masses, because I spent so many years of my life, I suppose, because it came out when I was like 9, completely avoiding it like the plague. And I have a little playaway of it too. And I got curious. My cousin told me to read it and just see how I feel about it from a literary standpoint. And I was like, yeah, okay, maybe one day. And then I just got curious. My roommate absolutely loves Twilight, and so I was like, I just want to know. Like, I just want to know what the hype is. I want to know where the appeal is. Because I didn't have any interest in it, but I was kind of curious. I was like, okay, like, what would it be like to care about these characters? And so I'm on chapter 7 of the book, and I watched the first movie, and cheesy though it was, and a little bit awkward, I was actually pretty entertained. And I think it's fascinating for Bella to have to adapt to these, like, I mean, not like these vampire rules, but I did see this one part in one movie. I'm not sure which movie it is, but I know that she gets cut, and then I believe it's Jasper gets all freaked out. So they start, like, pulling him out of the room, and somebody, I don't remember who it was, I wasn't really, like, paying attention, but someone, like, threw her onto this sort of, like, table that was full of glass vases, and she cut her arm open, like, even worse. And so I just want to get excited about this human in this house of vampires who is bleeding and is in, like, imminent danger, and this whole family is fighting to keep, like, half of them are trying to keep her safe, and the other half is like, oh, I want her blood. Like, it just sounds interesting to me. And for so many years it sounded really dumb. But I'm curious now. So I'm gonna see how it goes with this. I might not continue the rest of the series. I might watch the rest of the movies, but maybe I won't continue the books. But I was at least a little bit entertained by the movie. I have the library book by Susan Orlean, and this is about the Los Angeles Public Library fire, and they still don't know who did it, so this book is kind of like a case file of all the evidence they have and who they think did it, but how they didn't have enough evidence to charge him for the arson. And I think it's kind of sad that a library caught on fire. That actually kind of really hurts my feelings, and I want to cry thinking about that. But while nonfiction isn't really my thing, it is something I'm interested about. Libraries and books with, like, this little mystery element, even though it's nonfiction. So I figured I'd give it a shot. I have Aragon. This is a book that most people, by the time they hit middle school, had read like 3 or 4 times. I turned 20 yesterday, and I still have never read this. I don't know what it's about, but I heard it's really good. I figure there's something to do with the dragons. There's a dragon on every cover in the series. But I'm excited. I have 100,000 Worlds by Bob Prohl, and this, I'm not entirely sure of the exact premise of it, but I do know that it is about a mother and son who, the mother, when the baby was really young, left the father, moved across the country, and now they're going back to California to meet the son's father. But on the way there, they go to a bunch of, like, Comic Cons and stuff like that, and the boy's just seeing all of these, like, different worlds with the Comic Cons and stuff, and it sounded so cute. And I don't know who's narrating it, but I really hope it's the kid. To see Comic Con through a kid's eyes, especially when I've never been to Comic Con and I want to go so bad, it just seems so incredible. So I'm really excited to read this one for sure. I have The Amber Spyglass by Philip Pullman. This is a 3-book collection. It is The Golden Compass, The Subtle Knife, and The Amber Spyglass. His Dark Materials trilogy. I did start The Amber Spyglass, but I read The Subtle Knife in one day, and it was really good, but it kind of fried my brain. The way Philip Pullman writes is incredible, but there's so much detail that if I read it in one day, it completely burns me out, which I didn't know until then. So I regretfully didn't finish The Amber Spyglass, but I do have the other 2 books, what are they called? The Book of Dust and The Secret Commonwealth, and I don't know if those necessarily count as his Dark Materials, but they're in the same series, so I'm counting it. But I am really excited. I love this series a lot. Rebel Spy by Veronica Rossi. The thing about this book is that I have been obsessed with the American Revolution for as long as I can remember. And this book is about the Cobra Spy Ring. Well, it's not about the Cobra Spy Ring, but it's about a person who was in the Cobra Spy Ring, and to this day they have no idea who it was. And that is so cool, because it was a woman who must have been a really good spy. They still can't figure out who she is. So this is a historical fiction account of all the things that she must have seen and done and to, like, accomplish all that she did. Because all they have is the number and the few letters of, like, oh, I'm, going here to try and do this. The mission was successful, like, stuff like that. And so that's all this is based on. And then everything else is just, like, a fill in the blank. And that sounds so cool. I'm really, really excited. The revolutionary women are just so enthralling. I get so excited about historical fiction books about women doing awesome things, especially in the American Revolution, because those women were so cool. And she was a spy, and she was so good that they don't even know who she is. Incredible! Salt to the Sea by Ruta Sepetys. I have never read any of her books, but I've heard nothing but glowing reviews. So it's about time I got caught up, and I'm really excited about this. I have the entire Raven cycle. Actually these, might be backwards to you, but all the same. It's the whole Raven cycle. So I was inspired by Read by Zoe to try and read these all in a day. So I'm actually going to start that tonight at midnight and see how far into this series I can get in 24 hours. And I'm super pumped about it. I just rewatched that vlog, and she seemed absolutely thrilled by it. So I have never read any of these books. So I'm excited to see what I'm gonna get myself into. I have The Nest by Cynthia D'Apri-Sweetie, and this is an adult fiction about a dysfunctional family. And the only reason I stress the whole adult fiction is because I don't usually read adult books. Like, I usually read YA, but I'm branching out, broadening my horizons, and this seemed like a pretty good place to start. It seems to have a lot of drama in it, and I heard it was good. So, Amy Poehler left a good review, and I trust her a lot. But I'm excited to read this, and even if I don't like it, just to be like, at least I tried something new. I have The Voices by F.R. Tallis, and this book is about a man who hears voices in his home until he is driven to madness. Some sort of spooky novel, and that sounds fun. I haven't read a horror book since I read Asylum in 7th grade. So it's been a minute. Well, actually, no, that's not entirely true, because I did read the Sunshine Girl series, which was really good. But I think I was rereading them by the time I had read Asylum. I have 2 books by Donna Tartt. The first is The Goldfinch, and the next is The Secret History. I'm not sure what really either of them are about, but I bought this one from the same place I bought The Luminaries. And then the girl who was helping me buy the books, so the lady at the counter, she was like, "Oh, have you read The Secret History? It's so good." And I've heard a lot about this book. It was published in 1992, and now in 2020 and 2021, it is gaining so much hype. And I just think it's a little bit interesting to write a book and so many years later a whole bunch of people are obsessing over it, but it'd be like that. As you can see, I started The Secret History. I got to page 18, which isn't a whole lot, but it's been quite a few days since I have read. Because if I haven't been reading, I've been listening to the Twilight Playaway, and I also just got 2 new poetry books, so I was reading those yesterday. And, but yeah, it's time that I get back to, actually physically reading a book. I have Super Fake Love Song by David Yoon, and it's about this guy who really likes this girl, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm in a band," to make himself all cool. She's like, "Cool, I want to hear you guys play," and so now he has to make a real fake band. Or a fake real band. To try and impress this girl. Moral of the story is, don't lie if you're trying to impress a girl, because you're gonna get caught. I'm kind of sad that the pages aren't colored, because the one thing that drove me to Frankly in Love was the yellow cover with the blue pages. And this is just so sad. Like, the pages could have been pink. That would have been so cool. Why isn't there any book that has pink pages? Except Jane Eyre, I guess. Unless that's more red. But still, this could have had, like, bubblegum pink pages. I think they really missed an opportunity here. And the book itself, like, on the inside of the cover, is just black and white. That seems really boring for a book so interesting, especially following Frankly in Love. But, I mean, it's fine. It's just my personal preference of book aesthetic. I have Olympus Bound by Jordana Max Brodsky. I found this at the dollar store. I don't entirely know what it's about. I know that it's about this girl and something happens, and so she has to accept her true identity as a Greek god. And it's, I mean, it has good reviews on the back. It could end up being terrible because I found it at the dollar store, but I have found really good books at the dollar store before, so I have no idea. I have no idea which way this is going to go. If I'm going to love it or if I'm going to hate it. But I'm gonna try it, and we're gonna see what happens. It sounded interesting enough to buy for $1, and, you know, if I don't like it, oh no, it was a whole $1, you know? Last but not least, the rest of my stack of playaways. First we have Breathless by Jennifer Niven. She wrote my favorite book of all time, All the Bright Places, which came out on my birthday, I think in like 2015 or 16, and it's been my favorite book since then. I love that book so much. Don't get me started about the movie, though, okay? I waited 6 years for that disappointment. I don't want to talk about it. But if you don't like All the Bright Places because you only saw the movie, you need to go back and you need to read the book. Because it's so much better, I promise. I have no idea what Breathless is about, but I do love Jennifer Niven. I didn't like Holding Up the Universe so much. I ended up DNFing it because I just wasn't interested enough. But I liked the direction it was heading, I just wasn't interested. So I have no idea what this is about. I'm guessing something to do with swimming. But I'm really excited. I love Jennifer Niven's writing. I feel like I should go buy this book. I have P.S. I Still Love You and Always and Forever Laura Jean, because I just finished, that's the first book, To All the Boys I've Loved Before. That was actually my first read for 2021, and it was really good. I thought it was really cute, and I have watched both of these, both of the movies that are on Netflix, and I know that this is on its way out, but I don't know when it's supposed to happen. But I think they're really cute. Romance isn't really my thing, but these are cute enough that I was like, yeah, okay, I'll give it a shot. So, I like the first one. Ooh. And I saw the movie for this, so excited to see how that goes. And then, I've already made it this far, so why not read the last one? And finally, I have The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. And this has been on my TBR for years and years and years and years and years, and I have tried to read it, and I never did. But I'm hoping the audiobook version of it will kick me into gear about actually reading it, and I will finally get it done. Even if I just sit idly and like listen to it in the background of something, at least I'm finally reading this book. That is my very long, very ambitious January TBR, and I'm definitely not going to finish it. There are 3 weeks left in January, but we do have a readathon going on at the moment, we being my bookish group chat, and on my TBR for that is The Secret History, Snow and Rose, Twilight, Truly Devious, Super Fake Love Song, and The Nest. And so, I mean, it's gonna help knock out some of my January TBR. I'm sorry that this video was so long, but I had fun making it, and I had fun, you know, letting you laugh at my ambitiousness, and, you know, haha, silly Wendy, that's never gonna get read. Yeah, I know it's not. This will probably carry me into March, at least. But I'm excited to see how much of it I can knock out. I will see you all in a couple of days with my Raven Cycle log, and until then, please take care of yourselves, drink some water, eat some food. If it's been a minute, go outside, get some sun, but make sure you dress warm. And do something for yourself that you love, that makes you happy. Please. And tell your family and your friends that you love them. And I love you. And I'm here if you need anything. Please take care of yourselves. And I will see you all soon. Stay safe. Bye.